I don't know how much people appreciate how much courage it takes to stand up here and tell that kind of story. And if you leave with one thing today, I would want you to remember the story and how research finding new treatments affected this family. I mean, that's what we're here for. We've been here many years coming back. You've supported our work, and we've met, perhaps taken you on tours, and we talk about microscopes and test tubes and work in the lab. But what you saw here today is the point of all our work. The point of all our work is to try and improve the lives of patients with cancer. It is no exaggeration to say that if Mark had been diagnosed 5 years ago, he would not have been here today to share his story. He would not have danced at his daughter's wedding. He would not have had these wonderful family vacations that continue despite his recent recurrence. And so what we are all about is trying to ensure that more fathers dance at their daughters' weddings. I did. I wouldn't miss it for the world. We want more people to spend more time with their families, more time with their grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and it's within our power to make that happen. But the way that's going to happen is through our focus on research and supporting the work that it's going to be required to take wonderful scientific advances and translate that into differences in treatment for patients with cancer. So I went too fast. So it's quite an honor to be named a member of the Historical Society, receiving a medal. It's a great thing. It's an individual honor, but treating cancer like football, and Chris Spielman will say this, treating cancer, this is a team sport, and there are lots of team members. And I think we've been making history together for 21 years. When we started 21 years ago, immunotherapy was something that some places did. It was viewed with a different eye, a little bit on the edge. There were a handful of centers around the world that were engaged in this kind of research. We hung in there. We believed that there was a way to manipulate the immune system to eradicate cancer in certain instances. And with your support, we've kept at it. And while we've had great successes in the lab, we've learned a lot of science of cancer and immunology, the advances in the clinic were few and far between until the last few years. And in the last few years, there's been a vaccine approved for prostate cancer. There's been a new immunotherapy by monoclonal antibody that's approved and improves survival of patients with melanoma. The coming year, there's going to be another one for melanoma and perhaps patients with lung cancer. So the tide has turned, and it is clear that immunotherapy is now in the mainstream. And this historical event was recognized by Science Magazine, one of the two leading journals in science and medicine in the world, where they named cancer immunotherapy as the breakthrough of the year for 2013. And our work played a significant and substantial role in making this happen. One of our historical achievements in recognition of our contributions was that we were named one of the members of the Bristol-Myers Squibb International Immuno-Oncology Network. This is the first immuno-oncology network. It is around the world. There are 11 sites, 5 in the US. There's us with Memorial Sloan Kettering, Dana-Farber at Harvard, University of Chicago, and Johns Hopkins. Quite substantial and significant company. I think it's like Rutgers joining the Big Ten to play Ohio State. What do you think, Chris? You know, a little bit like, you know. So, and this is a testament to all the hard work and great work done by many of the people you see in this picture. As the leader, I get to stand up here and get too much credit for the work that's going on, but these are the people that make it happen. These are the people that are changing the lives of people like the Hornabrooks. We have been first in many things, proud to say, and you have a program. These firsts are listed. I won't go through all of them, but I would mention a couple things that perhaps people don't appreciate. Fourth line down, the Sipuleucel T prostate cancer vaccine. Patients in Oregon started to get it in 2000 because of our research institute. Ipilimumab, which is the treatment that was approved for melanoma, was first administered in 2003. The vemurafenib that Mark got was first available here in 2010. Now, the prostate cancer vaccine didn't hit the market till 2010. Ipilimumab wasn't approved until 2011, and vemurafenib wasn't approved till the end of 2011. So because of the work that was being done at our center, patients had access to these life-prolonging and life-saving drugs almost, in some cases, a decade before you could ever have your doctor prescribe that medication. And so that's great work by the scientists. It's also great for the patients who are willing and participated in some of those trials. And in some instances, we were the first in the world to do some of these things. And I've highlighted a few things here in orange. I think you've heard me talk about the immunostimulatory antibody OX40, which was first given here and developed, and the only patients ever to receive this drug so far are here in Oregon. A dribble, a special kind of tumor vaccine, was developed in our institute. Mark Williams is out here. He's been a speaker in the past. He was treated on our stereotactic radiotherapy trial plus an immunotherapy called IL-2, and his melanoma went into remission and has now stayed in remission for years. And on the bottom, you may have read recently in the paper about a new vaccine for patients with glioblastoma multiforme, a very, very lethal brain cancer. Of course, this all depends on the team you have, and all the work and all the contributions we make are made by incredibly talented people. This is our biotherapy team, led by Dr. Brendan Curdy. They see more patients getting immunotherapy of the type with interleukin-2 than anybody west of the Mississippi. This is the Fox Laboratory. Bernie and his team have made numerous contributions to our understanding of the human immune system, the murine immune system, and development of vaccines. And he, working with his colleague, Dr. Hungming, who actually developed the new strategy to treat tumor cells in a specific way, to alter them such that they will produce a very potent vaccine that's now being tested in clinical trials at Providence, Mayo Clinic, and the Cancer Center in LSU. You go from the lab, where you have a small number of people working on individual observations, trying to find new ideas that we can translate to the patient. We've been curing cancer in mice for a long time. It's a big jump from curing a mouse to getting something into patients, and you can see the team grows. Enormous number of people required to help to get the clinical trial started, approved through the FDA, get the patients, and it's enormous team effort. And the support we receive from luncheons like this helps keep this team together so that they can get things to patients. This is the team for developing the glioblastoma cancer vaccine. Marka Crittenton on the far left, and then the big tall guy, Keith Badgett, in the back on the left are the leaders of this project. And it's a disease we don't do very well with, and treatment has not improved much for a number of decades, and we are very hopeful that this new vaccine that was developed here will prove effective and beneficial. Andy Weinberg's lab, Andy's lab, famous for identifying and developing the OX40 approach to cancer. And again, you make observations in the lab, but then to get that observation into the clinic, you need a whole host of people to support that effort and to support the patients so that we can show that treatment developed in the lab is both safe and effective. And OX40 is probably, I think, our greatest historical contribution. It was an observation made in our laboratories here in Oregon. The entire clinical trial was funded by philanthropic efforts, so money that came from this luncheon and other dinners paid for the development of the antibody, paid for the clinical trial that allowed the patients to be treated, and now that antibody as far as I know, that's the first drug that's made it to a drug company, and it's now with AstraZeneca. It's the first one that was totally supported by the far-seeing philanthropic members in our community. And I think it's not only a great historical achievement in Oregon, but it's a great historical achievement anywhere. And when I think of all the work, thank you. And when I think of the work that we do, I think of the three-legged stool, and the patients are one leg. The research team is a second leg, and then the other leg that we depend on and what we would fall down completely without is it's you guys. And here's a picture of some of you. I would love to point out all the names, but these are the people when OX40 was just some crazy idea in Andy's brain, and other people thought, gee, this is worth trying. These are the people that supported us. These are the people that helped see to it that patients here in Oregon got this wonderful therapy. And we are so grateful for their support. We are grateful for your support and are here today to ask for additional help. And I would like to say that I have a piece of paper, but I don't. I do. I take my glasses off to read this part. I want to remind everybody, we're making progress, but cancer isn't cured yet. So we still need your help to support all of this great work. And unfortunately, philanthropy, whether we like it or not, is taking on a bigger and bigger role in funding this kind of work and research so that we can get these treatments to patients. And so last July, we launched a $65 million giving initiative called the Center of Hope for 2017. We've been blessed by a local couple who in March made a very generous challenge, and they've agreed to, if we can raise $1 million in the 60 days from March, that they would match that up to $1 million. And the deadline is May 20th, and you can see from the chart that's there, we're up to $785,000. So any gift that's made at the luncheon today will be matched. And anybody who thinks in the long term, if there's any pledge that's made up to 3 years, will also be recognized. So anything that you all can do to help us in this would be greatly appreciated. And I do know there is someone who's already volunteered to help us in this, and if I may, I'd like to invite Lynn Guest, the president of Fred Meyer, up to the podium.
Dr. Urba, thank you. It appears, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, that most of you are here because you have been touched somewhere in your life with cancer and are committed to making a change in how it's treated and how fast we can get a cure, because we know it's going to be cured. It's just how soon and how many lives does it touch. What's even more amazing to me is our associates. We have 33,000 associates at Fred Meyer in the 4 states that we do business in. And last year they raised over $400,000 for either cancer research or support. Beyond the $400,000 that our associates, that's right, I think they deserve that. Beyond the $400,000 that our associates raised, those of you that shop with us, and I hope it's most of you in the room, we have little coin boxes at all of our checkout registers, and we ask our customers to make a change, and that's all the box says, is make a change and we'll let you know where we're raising money for. That little bit of change that we ask our customers, and a lot of it comes from our associates who, as they're on breaks or lunches, continue to feed that change box. They raise so much money, in fact, that it's my pleasure today to kick off this fundraising here with a donation from our customers and our associates for $60,000. Now, I'm just a can stacker, and I can't even pronounce half the words that you said, but I do know one thing, that the research is really what's going to drive us getting to the cure and getting us there quickly. You have all received envelopes at your table. I'd ask you to give and give generously today, and maybe even just reach down a little bit further than you were planning. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Lynn, and thank you to Fred Meyer for its incredible generosity. We really, really appreciate the gift and support from everyone.